Hey, welcome back to Visions Now Supper Club. All views expressed for their educational and journalistic purposes, they're not the views the management, advertisers, and our staff of 92.1 FM. However, Visions does desire to bring a quality entertainment program which intellectually stimulates and culturally fulfills our community's needs to develop leadership and informed decision-making for our collective future. Welcome to the village, often imitated, but never duplicated. I'm Dr. Shailene Hood, your host and executive producer. Welcome.
As a part of the seminars, we will go over those think tanks, look at how they operate, what role they play in the society, how they form a major part, in fact, the central part of the ruling class policy formation network and the ideology formation network, how you move from the think tank into the universities, into the seminars, float the ideas into the media, use the think tanks to create expertise and get the experts located in the government so that they actually begin to turn ideology into policy. I deal then with power, of course. I deal with it not from the point of view of how we are victimized by it, but how we ourselves are going to use it in our interest and use it in the positive.
Recordings just got better. Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard. I'm so excited to announce
manner. So a good deal of the lecture deals with how we ourselves will organize our think tanks and how those tanks are related to the network of structures in the African American community. We are looking at Chancellor Williams' master plan and using that to bounce off of in terms of ultimately creating a nation within a nation. And based on the concept of nation within a nation, we want to create the kind of organizations that would permit us to overthrow the European nations and the European systems. You must keep that in mind. If that's not your goal, you're not about power. If that is not your goal, you're really not about education. You see, what do I say? The function of education, first and foremost, is to maintain the biological survival of a people and to advance their interests, to defend their interests and their very lives, and to enhance their quality of life. If your education does not function in those terms, then it is miseducation. It does not matter how much knowledge you have accumulated, how competent you are in terms of your skills and so forth. If you're not able to defend your very biological life, to defend the life of your people and advance their interests, then we have been miseducated. See, and we have to recognize one thing you see here, as I spoke earlier today, about the ideology of individualism, where, and a part of that ideology has thinking of education as individual salvation, and has us thinking that education, they basically is primarily functional for the individual to get a job, for the individual to qualify. So each of us is going to make his or her own individual contract with the system that dominates us. Each one of us then thinks that we can engage in individual salvation. This is destructive and will lead to the destruction of African American people and African people. We will die with tremendous amounts of knowledge and skills in our heads. If those skills and if the knowledge is not coordinated and combined in the sense of nation and in the sense of peoplehood, no amount of individual accumulation and knowledge and skills will save us as a people. It is only when that accumulated knowledge and the accumulated skills that we have are coordinated under the banner of nationhood and peoplehood will we then save ourselves as a people, and we will be saved individually as persons. We must keep this in mind. So it's a good thing that we're doing the think tank here. It's a good thing that shortly thereafter, I think my own work and the work of those who support me will be out supportive of that idea. We just want to announce quickly here that Brother Mark is back there with a few of the books. If you care for any of them, those of you who are not familiar with what we're doing here, you have to recognize we now have 4 books out: The Developmental Psychology of the Black Child, Awakening the Natural Genius of Black Children, Understanding Black Adolescent Male Violence, which is a companion book to Black on Black Violence. We are trying to put together here then a set of books that are connected one with the other. These books are not being published individually, they're really being published as a unit, so that we'll be able to move from childhood as in the developmental psychology of the Black child right to the book that will be published later on in the fall, Educating Black Children for the 21st Century. Thank you. This evening, we're going to talk a brief bit about education and a little bit about so-called special ed, even though I'm not going to go into detail about that at all. I'm going to sort of use learning disabilities as sort of a paradigm in terms of education. I try to urge people when we talk about the problems that confront us, that we must talk about them within the context in which they occur. It's very important that we begin at the beginning. Too often people begin to discuss problems and issues too late in the sequential chain of events, you see. Instead of starting at the beginning, they will start on the 3rd or 4th link. And despite their good intentions and so forth, they will often arrive at the wrong conclusion because they have not started at the right beginning here. As I have pointed out in other assemblies, we must start with the fact that we are a dominated people. That's very important that we keep this in mind. I am beginning to urge now that we start to discuss domination and the psychology of domination. And we focus on that because it will permit us to see many problems and issues and to predict many events in the future. I suggest that we engage in that before we engage in the discussion of racism, because racism is a secondary quality of domination. It is an instrument of domination. The first thing is the desire to dominate. The second thing is then to choose the instruments of domination, of which racism is but one. There are a number of instruments of domination, and we're going to go through those in our seminars in terms of the various forms of domination and the various means by which domination is attained and maintained. Look at domination. Recognize that I have said in other assemblies that domination is a social problem. When you say that you have dominated, or that we have dominated as a people, we are saying that we have a problem. You cannot be dominated without having a problem. You cannot be, as we are, dependent on another people the way we are at this point without having problems. We cannot be vulnerable to annihilation and genocidal destruction without saying that we have problems. And when I talk about then our people being dominated, I'm talking about not only are we under a system which seeks to control our behavior in its interest, but we are also in a system where we are greatly exposed to genocidal destruction because we do not have a countervailing power to defend ourselves as a people. At this point, our lives hang on a thread. If the United States and Russia and other nations were to combine their military and other forces against us, we must ask ourselves what African nations and people could arise in our defense. That's why I told you earlier that a part of the education of our children must be an education into military strategy and must be an education that ultimately leads to our capacity to defend ourselves militarily. What did we say about the major essence of domination? That this society, though it rewards us, this establishment, though it rewards us, to maintain its control, if necessary, will kill us. And you must keep in mind that the European never intends to give up control of African American people. Never intends to not be in a position to dominate us as a people. Never. And if it is necessary, and we've seen it already, we see it every day, for those people to kill us, to maintain control, they are going to engage in that. You keep that in mind, because see, there are some of those who are being rewarded by the system, you see, and they see themselves being elevated in it, and they think.
Drinking coffee every day didn't work for me, but I.
It's changing, and its nature is changing, and its program is changed. You manipulate both through reward and punishment. So people who want to manipulate and control others may at times reward those they want to control, and if necessary, destroy them on the other end. So you cannot assume because you're being rewarded by the system or promoted in it or given some so-called new liberties and so forth, that this means that the system is becoming soft and is changing its own drive, focus, and purpose. Not at all. The purpose and focus of this system remains the same, and that is to maintain white global supremacy. And we have to keep that in mind. How many people have seen a series of programs with Derek Bell? Derek Bell, the Harvard professor, used to be. Yes, constitutional lawyer, taught constitutional law at Harvard University. Yes, Donahue, has been on Donahue, the gentleman on Channel 13, Charlie Rose, on this, the gentleman that comes on Saturday during the day from Rutgers University, I forget his name at the moment. And you see this thing again and again. He has a current book out called Faces in the Well, or something of that nature. And of course, we are supposedly the ones in the well. And it's interesting because his subtitle is something like The Permanence of Racism. And the thing that these white liberals start agonizing over when they talk about it, talk to him, and it's interesting to watch them. Isn't this a statement of despair? Aren't you now just giving up? They tell him. When you say racism is permanent, you know, how can then you encourage black people? And of course, he struggles with it as best he can. And need to be congratulated to move to that point where at last, after 30 or 40 years of assimilationism, he recognizes that the white man is not going to change fundamentally. So he's to be congratulated by that. He says that every time we get a step forward, the whites figure out another way to negate it. 30 years, 40 years to realize this. But he got there. Now he needs to make the next step, which is the step toward revolution. Yeah. But he's afraid to make that one so forth. And listen to the title, The Permanence of Racism. And the reason why the white liberals agonize over it, the title is the way they read into the title. That is, they read the permanence of white racism. But he says what? The permanence of what? Racism. And apparently he himself tends to think that. But who says white racism is permanent? Why doesn't have to be permanent? Understand? The statement is not a statement of despair. It's a similar kind of statement that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad made. That the white man is what? Your natural enemy. Yes. Yes. That's not a statement of despair. That is a declaration of war. Yes. When you recognize that this man is your natural enemy, that this man is habitually and innately racist, that means then you got to give up the hope that he will ever be transformed, and you must remove his capacity to practice his racism.
The valet is Dr. J. Aleem Hood, your host and executive producer of Visions Now, the Supper Club. And of course, we got a windy night. It's kind of chilly out there, but of course, it's nice though. And I just want to give a few shout outs before we go into the break. One is the Mr. Floyd Washington, a giant of a businessman in our community, has transitioned, but he's left a strong legacy of helping our community, being a philanthropist, and just being a big brother to many, and being a role model to others. So, Mr. Floyd Washington, we like to just say thank you for all that you've done for Columbus, Georgia. And he will be laid to rest tomorrow at the Scunions Funeral Home at 11 a.m. And again, and the repast will be after that in the afternoon as well. And of course, come on out tomorrow night. Is that Friday, First Friday as well. And so they're going to be celebrating the homegoing of Brother Floyd Washington. And we'd just like to thank him so much for what he's done and provided a magnificent venue. And we know that his son, Jody, you already know the deal. You know, we got you. Much love to you. And of course, of course, you shared your dad, with many people. And of course, I know that you are chip off the block. So we'd like to thank you for that. And also just like to welcome also to New Era, Granters on Guard and the Urban League joining our ranks. And, the momentum continues because we know that we have a tremendous task ahead of us, but we know that it's not an option. We must do it. We must save our children. We must stop this gun violence. And so that's really what it's all about. And we also like to give a shout out to Ground Floor Lodge of they're having a blackout with the Squares day party. And of course, you want further information, you can contact me, or either you can contact any members of Ground Floor Lodge, either Brother Mullins. Of course, if many of you out there probably know him and hit him on Facebook. If you need a ticket, need directions, going to be at Uchi Creek. And we look forward to having a great party out there for a good cause, because when the Squares, they come together on the square and to have a good time, it's always for a good reason. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to my grandbabies. They won the Henry County Delta Sigma Theta Junior Shark Tank. And of course, I can't even tell you all what they won, but they won $1,000. They won a magazine opportunity. But again, what they really won is that they were the confidence to continue the tradition of the hoodpreneurs, because we're a family of entrepreneurs, and they have certainly, and they go by the name of let me get it right here. Butterfly Leaders. Butterfly Leaders is their products. They have a lot of different products. They're on Facebook and all that kind of good stuff as well. So again, there's some of the people that would like to thank them for joining this movement. And again, we of course, for those pastors out there, or if your pastor is not a part of this New Era Columbus coalition to save our children and to stop gun violence, if you're not a part of it, well, then you need to tell your pastor that to get on his job, because this is a once in a lifetime. This is a movement. This is not just a program. We must save our children, and when we save our children, we save ourselves. So, just want to give a little shout out there, and thank you all as always for listening. And we will be opening up the lines later on. But of course, today we're just talking about the fact that we need to come together, put our best minds together so that we can solve these problems, because we can't expect other people, police, sheriff, etc. We can't expect them to fix this problem. I just understand they're gonna put up cameras all over town. Now I don't know what that's supposed to. That's not going to stop the problem, but it does tell us that this is an opportunity here for more people to get locked up in prison and jail if we don't do our job. Because again, it's like anything else. If we don't do our job, then somebody else will do our job for us. And in this case, we need to provide some hope and a vision for something better for our children. So we're not talking about a vision for later on, we're talking about a vision now. And so again, welcome to Visions Now, the Supper Club. I'm Dr. J. Aleem Hood, your host and executive producer. 92.1 Smooth R&B.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
Paid for by Steel Man Pills. 800-750-9886. 800-750-9886. 800-750-9886. That's 800-750-9886.
Lori's Furniture Express, your express way to save.
It's February and it's the month of love. And what could be better than a brand new sofa, a new recliner, or a new power love seat, all from Goree's Furniture? And Goree's Furniture would love to make it even better with free delivery on any purchase. And that's for the entire month of February. And it's only at Goree's Furniture. Alabama Highway 169 in Opelika.
Friday, March 1st, first Friday in March, the F&W Control Tower goes Western. It's a Western wear affair. Yeehaw! Friday, March 1st, live at the FNW Control Tower in Columbus.
The boys on the heel with the real deal.
This first Friday, March 1st, the doors open at 7 p.m. The first Friday, Western night. All the Pisces are coming out to party. Guess what? Best Western outfit wins cash money. Yes, sir. So wear your best Western wear.
Cowboy boots and Daisy Dukes. Cowboy hats and all that.
Cash prizes for the best dressed lady and man in Western wear. The doors open at 7, and as always, the boys of the hill are providing the food. Live on the ones and twos, this Sam, the Preacher Man, and Lady P. You know how they do it. First Friday at the FNW Control Tower in Columbus. They going Western. Put on your best Western wear and win some cash money. The boys on the hill doing it again.
Tell your people that you're tired of baggy pants ministers, or preachers you call them, promising pie in the sky and the great by and by, that what you want is something now. Well, how do you translate this? How does your preaching make those people in your congregation, either on the radio or there in person, how do you make them go out and get what they want to have?
Well, now, in our philosophy, which we call the science of living, we attempt to convert the person to believe in himself, to believe in the presence and power of God within himself, here and now, rather than a God in the sky. And we have found that whenever we get the person to believe in himself correctly and positively, then he's able to be and do and have the good which he desires now. And here again, one of the differences in our philosophy is that we do not try to convert anyone to any form of organized religion or to any theological beliefs. Our only aim is to convert the person to a positive and correct belief in himself. We believe that God is within the individual. And by God, we mean all that is good, all of the potentials for good within the individual is God. And when the individual comes to believe in this God power, this God presence, this God mind within himself, he is able to be and do and have the good which he desires now, not in the sweet by and by.
You tell your people.
Why America is the greatest country in the world.
Diversity and opportunity.
Lewis?
Freedom and freedom.
Is not the greatest country in the world, Professor. That's my answer. And with a straight face, you're going to tell students that America is so star-spangled awesome that we're the only ones in the world who have freedom? Canada has freedom. Japan has freedom. The UK, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, Australia, Belgium has freedom. So 207 sovereign states in the world, like 180 of them have freedom.
All right.
And yeah, you, sorority girl, just in case you accidentally wander into a voting booth one day, there's some things you should know. And one of them is there is absolutely no evidence to support the statement that we're the greatest country in the world. We're 7th in literacy, 27th in math, 22nd in science, 49th in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in median household income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world in only 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and defense spending, where we spend more than the next 26 countries combined, 25 of whom are allies. Now, none of this is the fault of a 20-year-old college student, but you nonetheless are, without a doubt, a member of the worst generation ever. So when you ask what makes us the greatest country in the world,
on Facebook, and basically it says men are not obsessed with women like they used to be. Y'all don't find that kind of weird? And to be honest, no, I don't find that kind of weird, because what exactly is there for men to be obsessed with in today's world? Women have left no room for imagination, none whatsoever. It's like your sense of entitlement is out of control. Your expectations are unrealistic. Y'all walk around showing your bodies half dressed, half exposed 24/7, out smoking, drinking, partying 24/7, on the scene 24/7. A lot of y'all are not even coming with nothing to the table because you're too busy with your hand out trying to see what man got the next bag so he can sponsor your lifestyle to make you look like you're living a lifestyle to post on the internet. It's like a lot of y'all don't have common sense. A lot of y'all don't know how to hold a conversation. A lot of y'all don't have no originality about yourselves. Everybody is getting the same body. Everybody is getting the same hairstyle. Everybody looks the exact same. And it's like, y'all get that confused. Oh, well, men like that. No, men will fuck that. But men are not wiping that and they're not cuffing that. And I think y'all are starting to realize that. And then the first thing y'all want to say is, oh, well, they're gay, they're sassy. No, they're not. They're just tired of what you guys are presenting. And if y'all are here to give them free pussy, free looks, and free everything they ain't got to work for, why would they? But they're never going to take you serious. So it seems to me like a lot of y'all are now starting to realize that you're either losing value or have lost value from chasing attention. And now that's something that y'all got to deal with, and y'all can't face that fact. Men love women that are exclusive, women that are put up. So there's a stat on Facebook, and basically it says men are not obsessed with women like they used.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. All I do is win, 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 no matter what.
Just wanted to say that was just a little shot there of my little grannies, and that's Puda and Juicy. And they did a fine job representing the family and representing themselves. You know, as junior at the junior Shark team, no doubt about it. They were in first place, and that was big in Henry County, Delta Sigma Thetas. I'd like to thank you all for what all y'all have done to encourage our young ladies in particular, and my granddaughters in particular, to win the entrepreneurship of the Junior Shark Tank. And so again, they're working very proudly as always, but they're even more so now and more determined and understanding what entrepreneurship is all about. And that's what we have to do for our children. And that's what we want to do here in Columbus, Georgia. We want to have a Junior Shark Tank here in Columbus, Georgia. And we want to have a Junior Achievement in Columbus, Georgia, teaching young people how to be apprentices, teaching them how to be junior entrepreneurs. That's all a part of the New Era Coalition here in Columbus, Georgia. We are going, there's no problem too big because the problem has occurred and we're going to have to fix it no matter how long it takes. So again, I'd like to thank the Deltas of Henry County for providing that type of opportunity. And I think that here in Columbus, I think we're not going to be too far behind because we need to make sure that our young people put the guns down, And we as adults have to make sure that we protect them and put them on a path with a purpose and a vision of something better so that they don't feel the need to pick up a gun. So, you know, that's really what it's all about as well. So, how you doing today, Julian?
Doing all right. How you doing?
All right. So what's going on the campus out there? What do you get them ready? Get them ready? You getting them fired up for the New Era?
Trying to, absolutely.
Coalition?
Yeah, barely. I've been talking. Basically, we're talking with some of the Black professors on campus in terms of the NAACP chapter, and also talking, like I mentioned earlier, talking with some of the fraternities and hopefully the sororities to get everybody plugged into the coalition so we can.
Yeah, so we
officially get Columbus State on board.
There's no doubt about it. Because actually, see, in our day, I don't know how this goes. In our day, we were leading. We were pushing the older people to get involved. These days, the older people pushing them to get involved.
Trying to turn that around.
Yeah, but that's part of the problem too. But they got to become a part of the solution and not just greedy and selfish and think it's all about them. No, you're no more important as college students than you are for the service that you provide. At the end of the day, if you're not going to provide a service to help your communities improve, then you're not being educated at all. You're just being trained to go out and to get on the assembly line or whatever that happened to be. Okay, indeed. So that's very, very well. That's been encouraging. That that of course that know that you are out there, and so we know some young people out there as well. So we'll send them your way. Because that's what it's all about. All hands on deck. Absolutely. And everybody got to be a part of this issue here. And so we certainly, there's a lot of discussion about the baseball diamond. And I'm trying to say people are more talking about the baseball diamond than trying to help these children who are going to the cemetery and going into our correctional system. I mean, they're more concerned about baseball than they are about saving the life of our children. But that got to change. No politician in this community, if they place buildings over our children, then I know I'm not going to vote for anybody who plays buildings over children. It's fine to look at nice buildings, but I want to see children with smiles on their face. I'm tired of walking around seeing children don't even know about life, and they walking around with a frown as opposed to a smile. That's ridiculous. And so adults did that to them. Adults did that. So we're going to have to do something about that. We're going to have to really, really, really come together to deal with that kind of issue there. So there's no doubt about it. Now, also, everybody's going to have to make a change here in many respects. And there's a little something I want to share with you. And it says that it's time for a spiritual awakening. And many times it's tough. It's tough love. Because God gives tough love. When God spanked that behind, you've been spanked, and so therefore awakening is not usually pleasant. Often it feels like confusion, frustration, anger, sadness, grief, or even being out of place. A spiritual awakening can be uncomfortable and challenging because it's an intense time of personal growth. But despite how difficult it may feel, you're not going crazy. You are just evolving. So enjoy the journey of evolution. Look forward to the challenges. That's what I say. Don't duck them. Don't dodge them. Look forward to the challenges. And that's really more important than trying to dodge responsibilities to grow and to make a difference in our communities. So, what any issues or what are they talking about these days? I mean, what's on their minds out there these days, Junior?
Well, hopefully that's what I want to find out. Basically, see where they stand. In terms of, like you said, how willing they are to put themselves on a solution board. Because we need them. We definitely need the college students and definitely just the college administration. Right. To all hands on deck. We can't be carrying dead weight around trying to fix this.
Exactly.
And this is what you say you do to this opportunity, get involved in, get your hands dirty,
That's right, or get them clean.
Right.
might be getting the hand clean. If anything, I mean, it's that time. It says that there's a quote, African proverb that says, and what do you think this means? It says, a poor man's wife is only happy at night. What do you think that? What do you think that means?
Wife is only happy.
Wow.
Only happy at bedtime and in the bedroom, or poor man's wife is only happy at night.
Yeah, it just kind of interesting. If somebody out there think they know, what does that mean to put?
You can't take a shopping, I guess.
right. But why again, maybe they have each other at night. Maybe that's what it is. I mean, I don't know, but that's kind of interesting. But we got to really bring back that love and know whether you are poor, or you think you're rich. At the end of the day, there's another thing that says that the man who does not read has no advantage over the man who cannot read. And that's deep, right? The man who does not read can't look down on the man that can't read.
Yeah.
Right. Because then they actually in the same situation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So one of the things that I want to remind people, of course, is that we have met and we, like as I mentioned, we still have businesses and organizations joining the New Era movement, and we like to give us a call at 706-221-4830 because again we can't wait any longer. I mean, they're building a new courthouse downtown. They'll knock down the government center, or they're knocking it down and to build a courthouse. And my thing is that I would want to be try for we can reduce the courthouses, reduce the jail population, not increase it. But again, the notion is that until we represent our children in a better way, then then I guess that's the way people are going to view the value of our children. They're not going to value our children really. And that's one of the things that we all have to be mindful of, is that our children, they are our present and they are our future. There's no doubt about that. So it's them that we must make sure that we do our part to make sure that they're optimistic. By the way, you have a call or question about anything that's going on in the community, you want to know our opinion, then I give it to you to make sure you want to know the answer. But hotline number is 706-324-1420, 706-324-1420. If you like to call in, you have something on your mind that you like to talk about or something that's important to you, then we're more than happy to have you to be a part of our discussion, because that's what it's all about. We're just trying to bring the catalyst to you. We're just trying to bring the encouragement to you. By the way, I was hearing something about the fact that Jackson State, Alcorn State, I think, and one other college in Mississippi, they're talking about closing them down. So I certainly hope that people, get their head out of the sand, because it's very, very important that we understand what is going on, and that we have to support these colleges, because they are part of our heritage, our legacy, and when we go back and pick up with Dr. Wilson, and we have another. Okay, let's play that one then. Okay, that's fine. Let's see what she has to say. Oh, okay, yes, right. What you gonna play that? Yeah, that's right.
Mississippi HBCUs are at risk for closure under a new state Senate bill. In an effort to save costs, lawmakers introduced Senate Bill 2726, which says that 3 state-funded institutions must close by 2028, and a decision must be made by the summer of 2025. Of the 8 institutions listed in the legislation, 3 are HBCUs: Alcorn State, Mississippi Valley State, and Jackson State. Lawmakers will look at enrollment, tuition rates, degree attainment, scholarship endowments, degrees offered, and economic impact. UNCF has a report that highlights the economic impact each HBCU makes in their community and state. Alcorn State has a $146 million economic impact each year. Mississippi Valley State has an $83 million economic impact, creating nearly 1,000 jobs. And Jackson State University has a $418 million economic impact, generating more than 3,800 jobs. HBCU Buzz spoke with an Alcorn alumna who says, listen, I encourage all alumni to speak out, contact your legislators, and call for the bill to die. 3 Mississippi.
And in our Black Wall Street networking breakfast, and because more details will be coming, but I was just listening the other day at one of the people who survived that attack of the destruction of Black Wall Street out in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and let's listen to some wisdom from our elder who survived that attack.
They need to know that you have to watch your back. And as they say, trust few.
Oh.
And always check the veracity of what people tell you. Because there are people who will not tell you the straight truth, It was years before they finally came out with a report from the Assembly of Oklahoma that showed that we were the victims, we were not the perpetrators. But for years, they had even denied that they used airplanes, but all of us experienced and saw the airplanes. We thought they belonged to the militia, but actually they had borrowed the airplanes from farmers. They need to know that you have to watch your back. And as they say, trust few.
He's one that does a lot of work in the area of economics as well. And, the thing about it is that, he has some words about what we need to do in order. See, one thing is this. We have to create jobs so that our young people can have job opportunities. But in order to do that, we have to build more businesses. We have to be entrepreneurs. We have to create more opportunities for our young people, because that's what they're doing. They're creating opportunities for themselves. So, and that's why they come into murdering each other, robbing, stealing, etc. I mean, and again, who wants to do that? No one. But that's the only thing they see as available. And what we're planning on doing in this New Era coalition is we want to change that. We want to change the hopelessness and the idea among our young people that they have to do it themselves, and as opposed to their parents and their grandparents and their neighbors, that the adults in their lives really should be creating opportunities for them, not them creating opportunities for themselves. So let's see what Dr. Anderson has to say about that.
If whites had used slavery to acquire almost 100% of all this nation's wealth, resource, privileges, controls of all levels of government into the hands of the white society, racism means let nothing change that condition. That's what you're locked into. Racism means, as a group phenomenon, whites own and control almost 100% of everything of value in the society. 87% is frozen. 87% of everything in society that's owned right now by whites is frozen. It is locked into their communities, locked in their businesses, locked in their culture, locked in their neighborhoods, locked in their schools, locked in their churches. 87% is frozen. You can't get it. That means that the average white child, he now has an 87% advantage over a black child. Because everything that a white child needs to be successful in this society is in his community, in his church, in his business, in his neighborhood, in his schools, in his family, in his culture. He can get it anytime he wants to. He inherits it. It is passed on from one generation to the next. Every child gets what he needs at birth. Now, the disadvantage for these black children is that you have never owned anything and never controlled anything. And what you can pass on is what you cannot inherit. If whites had used slavery to acquire almost 100% of all this nation's wealth, resource, privileges, controls of all levels of government into the hands of the white society, racism means let nothing change that condition.
You can't control. People are going to be people, and everybody is entitled to their opinion. But the thing about it is that we must do our part to make our life better. We can't expect other people. Everybody's trying to make their own life better. So therefore, they got time to hire your children and provide jobs for you too. No, we got to take some responsibility for some of that. There's another gentleman who has a discussion about economics also that I think that has some interesting thoughts about it. Why don't you go to that next one there, Julian? See what his thoughts are. Yes. Because we want to make sure that we understand that this is no time for sitting down. This is no time for bickering. This is no time for woe with me. This is time to be optimistic. I mean, we should love coming together and doing things that would make our children's life better. And because at this point, they are their own worst enemies. They are their own worst enemies. And we have to stop that self-destruction. And we do it by providing them with jobs, and that's major, but jobs, you know, after school jobs, that type of thing. But let's see what the gentleman has to say.
When is the last time you had or heard a presidential candidate come up with an agenda for the black male? You don't hear it. So black males make up about 7% of the population in America, but we get blamed for 90% of America's problems. So I think that we as black men have a duty to place our focus on the development of black boys. And this is the only way that we will survive as a people. We must invest in the black male.
And we got to do that. As black people, we got to do that, because it's not in their best interest to do that, because they would be fighting against themselves, because their goal is to make us look bad. Their goal is to subjugate, to deny, to ridicule, to criticize, to discriminate.
And these fathers, you know, you got to start running from your children. Fathers, you got to start running to your children. You got to start running from your children. You need to be making sure that you shouldn't let anyone interfere with your ability to be a part of your children's lives. You know, but part of the problem is that, you know, that some of the divisions that we have in our community around issues of religion, and it always bothers me when people talk about they spiritual, when they don't even know what spirituality is. They think religion is spiritual, but here there's a discussion here that says that religion worships God, spirituality encourages oneness with God. Religion, God is outside of you. Spirituality, God is within you. Religion separates people who have different beliefs. Spirituality unites people regardless of their beliefs. Then it says religion teaches people to be afraid of hell, but spirituality teaches people to create heaven. And that's what we're talking about. I mean, that we have to evolve to another level, and many times people are so caught up. And I understand many times that you know, people operate off what they know, what they sometimes what they operate off what they don't know. But the fact of the matter is that we have to continue to grow, because we came from the one God, and that means that we should be reflecting that one God, and we should be expressions of God in many expressions, but it's all connected, because we all live on the same earth. We all use the same sunshine. We all drink from the same water, breathe something from the same air. So I don't know why we think that this world and this life is indeed is one, and we have to take responsibilities for it being one, because otherwise we're going to find ourselves really creating more problems than we are solving. And so my contention is that it's time that you know, that we truly come together, and that we understand that in coming together, that's at the end of the day is going to be the best thing that we possibly could do, because otherwise, you know, we always will find ourselves what to say, behind the 8 ball. You know, and what does that really mean? Behind the 8 ball means that that you're always going to find yourself as being a loser, but that it doesn't have to be that way. But it starts in the home. You know, we have too much conflict, and I understand we've been traumatized. We've been traumatized. Lord knows we've been traumatized. But again, what we have to do is that we have to start seeing each other as assets, and stop worrying about what we're getting from people, but see how we can help people. As a young lady has some interesting ideas about her view, and these are different views, and we share different points of view, and these are not the views of necessarily of myself or certainly not of the station or advertising, but these are just different views out in the world, and we need to know what they are, and we need to analyze them to determine what makes sense. So the young lady that's up next there, see what she had to say about, particularly talking to ladies in our community who seem to have a problem with, it should be up at the top there. It should be, but unless I didn't get it to the right place. Let me see here. Let me see if I can get it back here again. Let's see if I can. So let's see here. The phone's getting a little slow. Okay, let's see. We'll try it again. Bam. Because I think that she has some interesting thoughts, and I think her point of view is worth discussion. You know, and so let's see what she has to say. Listen, ladies.
Nobody is talking about this, though. Nobody is talking about how they study everyone around the world. They're always putting themselves on top, but we're not studying the heinous ways that's being passed down through their DNA and their habits, because we never get to tell the truth about them. The same way that they got the world thinking that the black man, when you see him, you should fear and you should be scared. Why you don't have evidence that the black man really did anything to you. But with them, we have evidence that they have done so many things. We can't even be comfortable and really trust ourselves with those. We come up dead, we come up hanged. It's always something. And nobody talks about how this behavior is being passed down through their generations. They don't want to be looked at in a bad light, but they put everyone else in a bad light to make us not want to cover our purses and not grab our children when they come. Nobody is talking about this, though. Nobody is talking about
life into our children, and not just, and it's fine to tell a child what not to do, but the thing about it is you have to show them what to do. Because they know about what not to do, but is the challenge is having examples, as to what should be done. Okay, we'll take a break here. Okay, this last break, and coming out the break again, thank you for being with us. Don't forget. Okay, don't forget 706-221-4830. Give us a call. The movement is on, and we got big things going on, and you want to be a part of it, and make your children proud. Well, supper time is over for today. We're going to close up the village. Thank you for listening. Invite your friends to join in.
A special shout out to Reggie Mathis. He says, much love, Dr. Hud.
Let's build that spirit of Harambe. Organize, organize, organize. Educate, educate, educate. Pamoja, Tutashinda, Uhuru Sasa, Watu Wazuri. Peace, soul, love, with a little sprinkle of power. Good night.